channel, welcome back to another video. I'm Jessie E. This is Ravenclaw, and you're watching. It is July, y'all. How did this year go by so fast? I mean, I know exactly why and how it went as fast as it did. It's because of BookTube. I was really on the fence about whether or not I was going to film this video at all, but I had a terrible night last night. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know all about the night that I had. I ended up going home and having really bad dreams all night because I was so upset. And I woke up this morning just feeling like crap, and my first thought when I realized like how bad I felt was that I should film the book freakout tag. I've been on BookTube for almost a year. It'll be a year in August, and literally any time that I'm deeply upset, I think of BookTube. Me being upset wants to make me run to film videos and upload them and interact with y'all because you guys make me so freaking happy. Being on BookTube makes me happy. Let's create some positivity out of negativity. This is going to be a video where I get to reflect on the books I've read during the first half of the year. I don't know the name of the wonderful person who originally created this tag, so as much as I would like to give them credit, we will just have to jump right into the questions. This tag has 13 questions, and the first is, what is the best book you have read of 2019? Let's Go Swimming on Doomsday by Natalie C. Anderson. 3 years ago, Abdi's older brother was kidnapped while they both were attending school by the terrorist group Al-Shabaab. His entire family has presumed him dead, when one day the family is forcibly woken up by people who have broken into their home, blindfold them, and throw them into a cell. After being subjected to mental and physical torture in this cell for 3 days, Abdi is removed from the prison and informed by a CIA operative that his brother Zahir is alive and well and has risen in the ranks of Al-Shabaab. This CIA operative is promising Abdi and his family solace in America as well as citizenship if Abdi joins Al-Shabaab as a spy to find out what they're planning. Now, in joining Al-Shabaab, Abdi is reunited with his brother, who he desperately hopes to save from this horrible organization. If Abdi doesn't successfully infiltrate Al-Shabaab and rescue his brother, his entire family is going to be killed. So the stakes are incredibly high. I read this book in February for Blackathon, and I knew that I was going to love it. But wow, the writing is incredibly lyrical and detailed without being ostentatious. Abdi is a morally gray character if you've ever met one in your entire life. There's so many ethical questions that this book has. It is full of secrets, twists, and turns, and nothing is as black and white as it may seem. It made me ask so many moral and ethical questions, and I literally cannot wait to reread this. Before putting it down, I do want to say that this book is not all pain and suffering. There is a silver lining. It's not just black trauma, and that was what made it so truly special. Question number 2 is, what is the best sequel you've read in 2019 so far? And I've actually only read 2 sequels, one that I absolutely loved and another that I didn't love quite so much. The one I didn't love was the sequel to The Bells, The Everlasting Rose. If you want to see my thoughts on this book, check out the Blackathon vlog that I have linked above. However, I absolutely adored the sequel to Crazy Rich Asians, which is China Rich Girlfriend by Kevin Kwan. It was even more decadent and lavish than his first book, and I loved all of the character development. Basically, in the first book, I think that the author did a really good job of establishing these characters, and then in the sequel, they really started to shine. I still don't care for Nick and Rachel's relationship at all, but absolutely all of the other surrounding stories within this book are phenomenal, and I cannot wait to read the third one. A new release that you want to read but haven't read yet, and for that, I have selected We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. We Hunt the Flame is actually on my TBR for July. I am so excited. Zafir is a hunter who disguises herself as a man in order to feed the people of her forest. And Nasir is the Prince of Death who carries out assassinations on behalf of his ruler father. Both of these characters are legends and revered in their civilizations in their own way, but their paths are about to intersect because a war is brewing and Nasir has been charged with the task of killing the hunter. We have a debut fantasy novel that has own voices and centers Middle Eastern culture, and I'm just so absolutely stunned for all of the magic and the wonderful things that I've heard about the writing. I cannot wait for this. Question number 4 is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and y'all know that this is going to be Girls of Storm and Shadow, which is the sequel to Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nung. This book is on display in the background of most of my videos. It's very polarizing. A lot of people didn't like it, but I'm dying I'm dying for the sequel. I loved this book with all of my heart and soul last year. This is about Lei, who is a poor girl whose mother was kidnapped from her village by the king when she was just a child. Unfortunately, this becomes full circle when she herself is taken as a consort to the king. Every year, the king chooses 8 girls to basically be his sex slaves, and this year, because Lei has these incredibly gorgeous golden eyes, she is chosen to be the 9th girl taken. In the palace life, these girls have to learn how to be perfect in every way, shape, and form. Now, becoming a paper girl is actually considered an honor because the girl's family and villages often bestowed lots of gifts and finery. However, Lei is absolutely determined to discover what happened to her mother, and she does the inevitable when she falls in love with a fellow paper girl. I need the sequel. I need the sequel! Question number 5 is your biggest disappointment, and I hate to say it, but this is definitely Internment by Samira Ahmed. Internment is about 17-year-old Layla, who is a Muslim American, and she and her family are placed in an internment camp. The story takes place after many incremental measures have been enacted in America to slowly strip Muslim Americans of their rights. And the premise is absolutely realistic because not only have we done this historically, but we're doing it right now to children at the border. The current presidential administration has definitely come for the rights of several people, not just Muslims. So this book is kind of commentary and imaginization of where this will end up if we keep going on the path that we're going as a nation. But it was disappointing because a lot of the conversations in the book just weren't well-rounded. What I didn't like about the book is that the characters were all one thing or the other. They were either angels or they were demons. And what I didn't like about this book is that the villain was just 100% unlikable evil. And overall, there just wasn't any of the nuance in this book that I see when these issues are actually presented in real life. It was almost like the writer felt she had to make the villain and the administration as evil as possible, as violent as possible for us as readers to understand that Muslims are oppressed in this nation. I think it should be more about you telling a narrative that helps elucidate an issue versus you using characters to communicate your personal opinion on issues, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Okay, question number 6 is a book that surprised you. The most surprising book that I read was Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, and this is surprising because I was not expecting this amazing space opera sci-fi book to have so much awesome gender inclusion. There were characters who used gender-neutral pronouns. There were species in the book that were absolutely 100% alien. They weren't human beings. They had their own customs, their own cultures. This book is literally the best world building I have read all year. Easy, without a doubt. On top of that, it was beautifully written. The conversations, the dialogue in the book, the relationships between the characters were not only believable, but they were beautiful. On top of that, it was really funny. It had me laughing out loud more than once, and I'm kind of difficult to make laugh while reading. A lot of times when writers are trying to be funny, I'm like, it's just not working out for you, bruh. But it's about this ragtag crew who is flying through space, charged with the task of punching holes through space in order to make interdimensional travel easier for others. I don't know if these hand gestures are helping anybody but me, but you know. And it's basically about this crew coming together, loving each other, hating each other, the species they meet along the way. It's a book that's definitely about the journey. Question number 7 is your favorite new author. This can be either a debut author or an author that's just new to you. And this author is going to be both. I am choosing Akwaeke Emesi as my new favorite author. I finished this book in February for Blackathon, and I probably haven't gone 3 days since completing this book where I don't think about its content. At least every 3 days, I'm thinking about something that one of the characters said, a line, a description that just popped and stuck in my mind. I'm thinking about the way this book impacted me. I'm thinking about the lessons that this book taught me. Not only is this easily the most beautiful writing that I have read all year, but it was funny, it was rich, it was Nigerian, it was Black, it was unusual, it was honest, it was relatable. There's my cat in the background. Get off the piano. This book is about Ada, who is born with gods inside of her. When Ada moves to America from Nigeria and experiences deep trauma, the identities of the gods are able to crystallize and express themselves, creating multiple selves within Ada. So this book essentially follows Ada from her infancy all the way to her adulthood and her experience living with these gods inside of her. So I was really excited about this book for multiple reasons, especially because we don't talk about mental illness in Black communities. And also when we talk about mentally ill folk, we often just exclude Black people, we exclude Latinx people, we exclude Asian people and Native American people, pretty much people of color from that narrative. So I was really, really pumped about this book, right? didn't disappoint me. I will say that the author, Akweke, whose pronouns are they, them, has since explained that this isn't about DID and is more based on spiritualism and magical realism. However, this is own voices because this is something that Akweke has themselves. Now, this book does need to come with a content warning. There is a lot of trauma in this book, just as there's a lot of trauma in Let's Go Swimming on Doomsday. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush, and that is going to be Flora from Her Royal Highness. Millie moves to Scotland to this very prestigious and elite school and immediately hates her roommate, Flora, who acts like a total princess. Except Flora is a princess. Flora is the Princess of Scotland, and this book is about the enemies to lovers relationship between Millie and Flora. Now, Flora's character is gorgeous and beautiful, but this is going to be a platonic crush for me. I'm not crushing on Flora romantically, I'm crushing more on Flora as an individual because I just really love how headstrong, how stubborn she is, how committed she is not only to her family and her people, but also to the people that she loves, even though she is a total jerk and has this very, very hard exterior that she puts out into the world. Question number 9 is newest favorite fictional character, and that is easily gonna be Hedy Lamarr from The Only Woman in the Room. Now, this is kind of unfair because Hedy Lamarr was a real person. She was a beautiful, wonderful actress in the 1940s who fled from Europe and had to hide her Jewish heritage in order to survive. But on top of that, Hedy Lamarr was a brilliant, absolutely brilliant scientist. So The Only Woman in the Room is this fictionalization of Hedy Lamarr's life. It gave me Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo vibes, and so does Hedy. She is so intelligent and stubborn and smart, but she knows how to bury her temper and to bide her time. She knows how to cover up her emotions and to display them only when it is beneficial for her. And I love that trait. I love the self-restraint that Hedy has. Oh, she's amazing. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry, and this is going to be Queenie by Candace Carty-Williams. This is about Queenie, who is a young 25-year-old British and Jamaican woman whose life is an absolute mess. Queenie herself is a mess. She makes a lot of mistakes. She sleeps with people that she shouldn't sleep with. She has a horrible work ethic. And her life is pretty much just falling apart, and a lot of it is her own fault. So it's this funny new adult contemporary about this woman who is grappling with her identity, first as a woman, second as a Black woman, third as a curvy woman who is constantly kind of harassed and sexualized and treated poorly because she has this beautiful, voluptuous figure. And she's also figuring out how to be a fully functioning adult. It's a very sex positive, body positive book. It's a comedy, but there are so many important issues that are just seamlessly worked into the book. I love books that incorporate issues into the narrative, but those issues don't take over the narrative of the book. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this book tackled racism, for example, but the entire book wasn't about racism. It was just about Queenie's life and her experience being a Black woman, which unfortunately racism is a part of that. But we are also so much more than racist experiences, right? And so it was just really cool getting to know her character, and I absolutely fell in love with her. And there's a scene between her and her grandmother, which you'll know this scene if you read the book. Queenie is trying not to lean on her grandmother for guidance, and her grandmother turns to her and says one line, and that line just snapped something inside of me, and I was just bawling. Question number 11 is a book that made you happy, and I'm going to choose Kings, Queens, and In-Betweens by Tanya Boteju. Nima is an awkward duck who just got her heart broken by a straight girl. She discovers her wings and what it truly means to fly when she discovers her town's drag culture. She meets a drag queen who begins to mentor her and becomes indoctrinated into the lifestyle of drag. Gosh, this book made me so happy because it was so gender inclusive. There were trans characters, bisexual characters. It was truly a celebration of queerness. That's what this book is. And it was super funny, super nerdy, awkward, geeky, all the things. And I want everybody to read this book. Question number 12 is the most beautiful book that you've bought or received this year, and I'm gonna go with House Girl by Michael Doncor. I bought this book a couple weeks ago just because I loved the cover. Just imagine this cover on a canvas hanging in the living room. This picture is so beautiful and breathtaking and striking, and I love this cover. And the last question, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I am definitely going to choose Daughters of Henri by Reni Amayo. After a gruesome war, the gods are like, peace out, and they depart from the earth. Now, there's only one source of proof that these gods ever existed, and it comes in the form of two twin girls. Now, these girls were separated at birth, but they are actually goddesses who believe that they are human. The first girl lives in a village and her name is Nala. She is wild and loves adventure and free-spirited, and her twin lives in the palace whose name is Sanai. Now Sanai is cold and reserved and responsible, dutiful, but they both possess ancient and secret magic. Now these girls were separated at birth by the mighty Eze, who just wanted to keep them alive. But they are about to embark on a path that takes them back to Eze, who is the mighty ruler of the land. This book comes out on October 1st. There are so many books that I want to read, but this is absolutely a priority because it sounds amazing. I don't know if I'm saying Enri correctly, but the cover is gorgeous, the premise sounds phenomenal, and I cannot wait to read it. All right, y'all, that is it for this video. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can also check me out on my Instagram because I post in my stories daily, lots of book chats and discussions and sometimes book rants. Don't forget to hit that notification bell if you want to make sure you never miss a Bow Ties and Books production. Until next time, stay sharp, and I will see you in my next video.